Hello and welcome to NBS Broadcasting. This is my first broadcast on this channel. I am not used to this. I am not a pro. I am not a journalist. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not even very tech savvy, so bear with me. I hope we can get through this together. One of the things that I want to do is talk about Seth Rich. I don't like the way the media is trying to just brush this off as if it's nothing. It's all just a fraud. It's all just a joke. It's all a conspiracy. While they neglect mentioning that WikiLeaks and Julian Assange himself are the ones that have given credibility to the story by offering a $20,000 reward for information on the death of Seth Rich, by Julian Assange and WikiLeaks tweeting out the link to the story about Rod Wheeler. This is something that the mainstream media does a really good job of ignoring while they try to discredit any kind of validity to this story. What I'm going to do is I've got the link here for you to see to Julian Assange's tweet where he tweeted out the link regarding Seth Rich. I also am going to play a clip for you of an interview that Julian Assange gave not too long ago, well, several months ago, regarding Seth Rich. I'll play that for you now.
As a 27-year-old, works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
But why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources are, our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
But it's quite something to suggest a murder. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, that others have suggested that. We are investigating to understand what happened in that situation with Seth Rich. I think it is a concerning situation. There's not a conclusion yet. We wouldn't be willing to state a conclusion, but we are concerned about it. And more importantly, a variety of WikiLeaks sources are concerned when that kind of thing happens.
Okay, now bear with me. I don't have a screen recording software so that I can walk through this with you guys as I, walk through on the screen with you guys as I narrate. I've cut a little snippet out of this last clip, or this last interview. Everybody has a tell, like a poker tell. It's a subconscious reaction that you don't even notice that you're doing. And Julian Assange has a tell in this interview, outside of basically coming right out and saying, we protect our sources, in response to an interview about Seth Rich where Julian Assange brings up Seth Rich. He also gives a small little subconscious tell in this interview. And you got to have like an eagle eye to notice this. And I guess with my years of sifting through bullshit, I started to, really pay attention to little tells like this. And I'm going to show you this tell right now.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't.
Okay. I know the clip went really fast, but if you play it again, in slow motion, or if you really just pay attention, there's a little moment there where Julian Assange, in response to, was he one of your sources then, gives a little nod. His head starts to nod yes. And, and then he has to go on and kind of say, we don't reveal who our sources are. But it's a subconscious reaction. He's kind of caught off guard by the sharpness of the interviewer's questioning, and it's just a subconscious kind of nod of the head yes before having to go on and say we can't reveal our sources. But even without that little tell, which you can always rewind this video, repeat it, slow it down, do whatever you want to do, click on the link, watch it on a different channel, whatever. I haven't manipulated it in any way except for to just snip that out of the interview and play it again. Okay, I know a lot of people are going to be like, you're looking at nothing. And, it's a subconscious thing he's doing. It's not something that he's deliberately trying to, give us a wink in the middle of the interview and say, yeah, he was a source. It's subconscious, but he is giving a little nod of the head yes there. But that aside, what more does the man have to do to say Seth Rich was the source? The man is offering a $20,000 reward for information on the death of Seth Rich, and when asked why, he cites WikiLeaks protects our sources. What more does the man have to say? He has plainly said, too, that it wasn't a state action. So in other words, Russia wasn't behind it. And he has done more than hint at the fact that it's Seth Rich, including sending out this tweet. On top of that interview and just other things. He can't come right out and say it for obvious reasons, but he is trying his best to come right out and say it. That aside, I don't trust mainstream media. We've got a news organization, a publication, WikiLeaks, which has 100% accuracy rating. Can CNN say the same? Can MSNBC say the same? Can the Washington Post, can the New York Times say the same? No, they cannot. No, they cannot. So am I going to trust them and their bullshit and the bullshit that was revealed in WikiLeaks, which shows that Clinton's campaign colluded with some of those very same organizations in propping up Clinton's campaign and even propping up Donald Trump? I'm going to trust them over WikiLeaks and their 100% accuracy rating? No, I don't think so. I mean, CNN and all those agencies were behind selling the war in Iraq. And then they got to play this whole hindsight's 2020 bullshit. Oops, we made a mistake. There was no evidence, and we kind of fed the allegations that there was evidence and an axis of evil and all that shit. But oops, it was a mistake. No, it wasn't a mistake. It was calculated. It was deliberate. They are a propaganda agency of the government. And I know how absurdly conspiratorial that sounds, but what more evidence do we really need? There are conspiratorial news agencies. Pravda is a perfect example of one in Soviet Russia. And, America is an empire. We have grown into an empire, and we have grown into a level of government that has become so corrupt, so unchecked, so unbalanced. And, propaganda has basically even been legalized. It is legal to spew propaganda. And why would that be made legal? Why would lawmakers even need to look that up to make that legal? You have to ask yourself these questions, because what we're watching right now is absolute, it's horrific, really, to be honest. And then we have other alternative, I put alternative in derisive quotes, news organizations on YouTube that too don't give credence to this story, even though we have Julian Assange coming right out. Every time anybody gets up in arms about this story or attention is brought back to Seth Rich, it is because Julian Assange is bringing attention back to Seth Rich. And that's just dismissed. We can't pay attention to that. We've got to bring the narrative around outside the box of Julian Assange's trustworthiness, his 100% accuracy rating with WikiLeaks. We have to get outside that box, and we have to start dismissing the character of the broadcasters that broadcast it, like H.A. Goodman or Rob Wheeler. We have to start judging their character and making it all about them when it has nothing to do with them. But that is the mainstream tactic. It's to not attack the truth, not to just ignore the truth while attacking the truth tellers, shooting the messengers, so to speak. So I really, I have H.A. Goodman's back on this. Because, it's not even really about getting H.A. Goodman's back as much as it is about this is the truth. We have Julian Assange sending out these leaks. We have Julian Assange on camera in an interview saying that Seth Rich, that WikiLeaks protects their sources in regards to speaking about Seth Rich and why WikiLeaks is offering a reward. What more do we need? What more do we need? So I just felt I should chime in on this too. And because not enough people are talking about this. And it's trying to be swept under the rug. And I'm not going to let that happen. And I know damn well H.A. Goodman's not going to let that happen. And Debbie Lusignan is not going to let that happen. And Claudia Stauber is not going to let that happen. And neither is Tim Black. And if it's just us, then so be it. But it really should be headlines, because somebody has died. And that is very serious. And he died protecting our democracy.